Okay, so here we are live once again. Let me make sure that the video is playing correctly. Go to my YouTube. Make sure the volume's turned down. And we'll just make sure that the video's playing. Because, here a couple of times recently the video hasn't been playing properly. So I want to make sure it's up. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and talk about this figure that I got at Ross for $16.99 a few months ago. Been waiting to open this for a while. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 movie Ultimate Casey Jones figures. How was that name pronounced again? I actually went and looked it up. Koteas. Yeah, Elias Koteas as Casey Jones. And you can see right here on the box, this one actually has an unmasked face, and it looks like it's pretty good likeness. Got the action figures of the boys down here at the bottom. These are the action figures, not the suits from the movie. And he comes with a plethora of sports gear that he can use as weapons in his crusade against crime. So let's read the bio on the back. Now you can catch America's favorite green teens in their first live-action blockbuster film. After wading into a puddle of radioactive waste, these radical reptiles are transformed into New York's greatest crime-fighting quartet. Casey Jones, the masked vigilante, carries a golf bag on his back filled with clubs, bats, and sticks, makeshift weapons in his war against crime. This highly detailed figure features an assortment of movie-accurate accessories with over 30 points of articulation for maximum posing power. Now, viewers of the channel might recall that I did open up this figure once before, but it was in a different set with a dirt bike and some different accessories. This one comes with more sports equipment, so he's going to be a better figure just for that, I think. Blue White Mario is here and asks, "How you doing, Alvin?" I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing fine as well. Let's go ahead and get this guy open. So there's a piece of tape down here at the bottom. Looks like it's double taped, almost like somebody opened it up at one point. But there's a window box on there, so I know it's got all the stuff. There is an image of Casey Jones ready for action. And over here, with the pointing hand. Why are you laughing? Because you called me Alvin with a V, as if I'm a chipmunk. Hopefully that's just a typo. Okay, so here is, we'll have a look at the insert in the back, and we can see it's got a garbage truck on the insert in the back. Oops. So yeah, fans of the movie, we know why that garbage truck is in there, don't we? All right, so we got the little blister. Blue White Mario says, I'm sorry, it's Alan." Yeah, you don't need to apologize like that. It's fine. We're good. We're all good. So but yeah, that was when Casey kills the Shredder in the movie. Like I guess originally, it was supposed to be where Splinter knocks him off the rooftop. They wanted a more definitive death for him, so Casey closes flips the lever for the garbage truck and crushes old Shredhead to death and says, "Oops," like really sarcastically, as if he actually I didn't really do that by accident, kids. So it looks like there's one double rubber tab holding him around the middle here, and unfortunately it's kind of warped the vest on the figure a little bit. You guys will get a better look at that in a minute. But there's all of this sports equipment in here and some extra hands, and I want to get all this stuff out of here. So there's a very tight gripping hand for the right hand, and a very tight gripping hand, looks like, for the left hand. He's got two fist hands on him in the package. Here is the golf bag, which is a very simple, very plain golf bag, just plain leather. We've got a golf club, which he uses against Tatsu in the Foot Clan lair. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. And we got a hockey stick, regular hockey stick, colored in brown, black tape. I believe this one did come with the dirt bike version also. And he also came with at least one baseball bat. I don't remember how many baseball bats he came with. But this one comes with 2 baseball bats. So here they are. So we're going to take those out. And then big old goalie stick. Big old goalie stick. It looks like it's got the logo of the manufacturer taped over. So can't quite make that out for some reason. And then this cricket. You got to know what a crumpet is to understand cricket. I'll teach you. And here we go with the pointing hand. That's not very nice. And here's a hand that's good to hold the other half of the hockey stick when he's holding that. And then a couple of more gripping hands. These look a little more slightly loose than the a slightly more relaxed grip than the other ones, which are very tight. So there are those. Blue White Mario says, I will come back in the next screen. Talk to you again soon. It was good to see you. So, and then last couple of accessories is we got the hockey mask. And this one does make a little more sense to have in this one than the dirt bike set, because this does actually have an unmasked Casey Jones head. So Elias Koteas did go on to have a very varied career after playing Casey Jones, mostly doing character roles. Very talented actor. You see him in a lot of movies. There's the unmasked head. Good likeness on there. I think maybe the eyebrows could be a little bit heavier. I might try to repaint them a little bit. But other than that, I think that's a great likeness of the actor. And then finally, the figure itself. Let's get that out of the package. And to compare it to the one that came with the dirt bike, they are indeed pretty much the same exact figure, it looks like. There's almost no differentiation between them whatsoever, except it does look like there's a few more scuff marks on his hockey mask with the dirt bike version, and it looks a little more pristine with the so-called ultimate version. So let's go ahead and talk about his articulation before we do anything else. Casey can look up about that far, which isn't very far because he's got that long hair, but, you know, whatever. He can look down about that far. Can't really tilt the head quizzically to side too much, again, because of the long hair. Head rotates all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, and they raise up to the sides about that far. He's got a white t-shirt. It looks like a long sleeve t-shirt, but with the sleeves rolled up. So it makes you wonder why he didn't just go with a short sleeve shirt to begin with, but whatever. And he does have some articulation at the torso, which looks like it's mostly under this shirt. But you can kind of move him from side to side a little bit, back and forth a little bit. And of course, that rotates all the way around. There might be more articulation under the shirt, but I'm not sure. He's got a little bit of chest hair sculpted in there, which follows in the tradition of the original Casey Jones figure, who, as I pointed out on the previous episodes, has a lot of body hair sculpted all over that figure. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, which bends well over 90 degrees. That looks great. And that rotates all the way around. And then the wrists rotate all the way around, and they have a horizontal hinge on them that moves back and forth like so. He does have the solid fist hands on the figure. So let's go ahead and, oops, I broke it. I literally broke it. Well, not only did I break it, but the figure kind of came apart at the middle. No, he actually broke. Wow. Well, it's a good thing I have an extra one, isn't it? It looks like it just twisted apart at the middle there. Well, that's the first time I've ever had a NECA figure break on me in the middle of doing one of these one of these. This hand, the way it broke is it just kind of like you see where it's that injected mold, it kind of popped off in that way. That's why I tell you guys to be careful pulling these hands out, because that can happen sometimes. That's easily fixed though. This middle portion here, I don't know how easily that's going to be fixed. I think the only way I can think of offhand to fix that, I'm surprised that happened. I've never had that happen with a NECA figure before. So I'm going to have to repair that in some way. I think the easiest way to repair this would be to just glue it in the middle and just not have an articulation there, honestly. But we can go ahead and put another hand in there anyway. So what I was thinking about doing, and I'm probably going to do at this point, since he's broken, head came off fairly easily, so that's good, is I am going to use this figure as, like I was talking about before, the scene in the movie where Casey follows Danny back to the Foot Clan lair and finds Splinter and rescues him. And that's one of my favorite parts with Casey in the movie, is where he sees Splinter chained up and goes to save him, and Splinter's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm a friend." And Casey Jones, "I'm a friend." And he's getting him out, and you see the rest of the kids in the Foot Clan, the misguided youth, misguided, unloved, they call them the Foot. And he's like, Sam Rockwell, whose name I remember now. he's like, we're loyal to the Shredder. We're like family. And Casey's like, family? You call this family? Just kind of dismissive of him like that. And if it was any other superhero movie, you'd probably get some kind of long-winded speech about how he's not really your family because family really love. Splinter kind of talks about that a little bit in the movie with all fathers love their sons and things like that. But Casey's not really much of a speech giver, so. Anyway, I figure this Casey, the one that's got a permanent marker, I could probably heat that up with the hairdryer and soften that up some. But the one with the marker, the one that came in this box, the so-called ultimate figure, the one that broke, I'm gonna leave that like that's gonna be the one that sneaks into the Foot Clan headquarters. That's gonna be how I keep him displayed with the golf club, like he just knocked Tatsu out with it. So. But yeah, I'm probably gonna get like some what do you call it? The epoxy kind of glue, and just put a big blob of it in the middle and put them back together like that. And that's how he will remain. So I'm gonna finish talking about the articulation with the Casey Jones figure that I opened up previously, since it's the same figure anyway. So Casey can kick up about that far. He can bend at the knee about that far, single joint of articulation, and that rotates all the way around. And, the legs do have like some side-to-side movement. It kind of ratchets. So, there's that. And then the feet can point down about that far and point up about that far. And those kind of rotate all the way around. But remember, it's got these high top sneakers on there. So it's going to bump into that a little bit. So let's talk some about his accessories. Now, I already talked about how he came with this same baseball bat that the dirt bike figure came with. But let's talk about some of these other accessories too. So we got the hockey stick, the regular hockey stick. And this does seem to be like kind of a tight grip to hold this. So let's look at some of these other hands. Yeah. So, looking through here at all of these extra hands, and all of them seem to have that sort of horizontal hinge to them. It would be nice if, like Super 7, they'd given us a set of gripping hands with the vertical hinge, but That was not the case. So, like with the other Casey Jones figures, I kind of insert the stick into his hand where there's no wraps, and then because it's a little more narrow there, and then you can kind of pull it up to where there's the tape grip if you want to do that. And I've already got this kind of looser hand on here. That this actually holds the hockey stick fairly well, but I think that it's made so that it holds like the other end of the hockey stick when he's holding it like that. So there's how that looks. And then since we haven't seen the cricket bat, this is one that I was bemoaning not being with that dirt bike set, is that I really wanted to have the cricket bat. So there he is with the cricket bat. And last but not least, this big old goalie stick. And again, like I was talking about with the other Casey Jones figures, we open up the goalie stick. It's huge. So, and it's about the same size as the one that I 3D printed for my Playmates one. So you see what I'm talking about, how like that's actually way too big for the Playmates figure, but I didn't really care. So we'll go ahead and get the goalie stick into his hand and see what he looks like with that. Come on, you. So other than the fact that the actual figure broke on me, he's a pretty cool figure, and I am disappointed that he broke on me like that. So Heavy Metal Turtles is here and says, I have Casey Jones. Well, cool. There he is with the goalie stick, looking all badass. Like when he showed up in the second time around shop as it was burning it down. You messing with my little friend there? Yeah, badass. All right. So last accessory really to talk about that I haven't actually talked about yet is his golf bag. So let's go ahead and talk about that some. I'm going to just, since I want to have him holding this goalie stick in the thumbnail, I'm just going to pull the hand out so I don't have to deal with it. And that way I don't have to worry about getting the hand back in. So let's have a look at this golf bag. And of course, it's got a little strap to hold it over his shoulder. And it looks like I can even get it on without taking off his head, which is good. So there we go with that. And we can load up some of his accessories into the bag. So we've got the two baseball bats and the cricket bat and the regular hockey stick. And once I got all these weapons in there, then they start to fit kind of snugly. So there we go. There he is with all the weapons in there. So I'd meant to compare the Mirage and the Super 7, the NECA Mirage figure and the Super 7 Ultimates that's based more on the Playmates figure. And I might as well have some comparison with the movie version too, since I got all these open, and the original Playmates Casey Jones. So we can have a look at all of those. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's start with the original. And of course, he's a completely different scale, and he's that kind of squat proportion like the original Ninja Turtles figures were. And of course, this is not the original bat. Like I said, this is a bat that I 3D printed myself, and he didn't even really come with a hockey stick in the original version. So this is one that I 3D printed for him. But yeah, that's what the original Casey Jones figure looked like. And that's the one that the Super 7 one is more based on. So you can see how similar they are. Not identical. They could have gotten a little closer, I think, but they still got pretty close. And then, of course, that was based on the Mirage comics. And this one also was based on the Mirage comics. Heavy Metal Turtles, I have the cartoon and comic one and the old one too. Awesome. Cool. I don't have the cartoon one yet, and I might get them one of these days. I would definitely like to have the one where he goes in for a job and he's wearing his business suit, but he still has the hockey mask and the golf bag. But here we can see the The Mirage next to the Super 7 version. This is the NECA Mirage figure. And you see what I'm talking about, how like they almost reversed the colors, how he went from having a blue shirt with gray pants to a gray shirt with blue pants. It's kind of funny. But I think they're both great figures. But you see the Super 7 one is just slightly taller. Like I said, the NECA Mirage figures seem like they're slightly smaller than the other NECA movie figures. You can see the movie version of Casey is a bit taller than the Mirage version. And if we compare the movie version of Casey in terms, he's a little taller even than the Super 7 version, which the Super 7 version's like, I kind of figure those are just taller in general, but probably because he's a movie figure. Lone Dragon is here and says, heyo, right back at you. Work, Casey Jones. Yes, that's exactly it, Heavy Metal Turtles. So yeah, this is a great figure, even though unfortunately the one that I opened up today broke in half. So I'm going to advise everyone to be really careful with that waist joint. Otherwise, you wind up with a Casey Jones that's broken in half, like I did. And I'm just going to have to glue that back together. And he's just not going to have an ab joint. That's just how it's going to be. So, but thankfully, I did already have the dirt bike version, which is basically the same figure, but just does not have as many good accessories. But I love the way that this figure turned out in general. And it was worth the $16 that I paid for it to finally have an unmasked Casey Jones head, and that's good to have. So I'm not complaining too much, especially since, like I said, I got that at Ross and I got it for cheap. So, if one of my NECA figures is going to break on me in the middle of an unboxing, I'd probably rather it be one that I only paid $17 for. But that pretty much is that. I think that's everything that I have to say about this figure. If I'd thought about it, I'd have brought the movie April O'Neil over here, and that way I could have had some shots of them in the video together. But I'll try to get some shots of them together in the put them as a community post. Bobby Wald says, I thought that was a Motu crossover and Orko was the new Casey Jones. Well, that might be another thing to do with this. Make myself a custom Orko. Who knows? But I got the unmasked head. That's the important thing. And I got a goalie stick. And I got a cricket bat. I don't know what accessory I'm more excited about with this between the cricket bat and the goalie stick. But I think both of those are pretty awesome. They probably could have got away with just using the same bat in between the Mirage version and the movie version. Even the bat's a little longer in the movie version, though. But they probably could have just snuck in the movie version in this, just kind of painted the lines on there. I don't think anybody would have noticed. And if we had noticed, we wouldn't have cared. I just thought, well, it's another baseball bat. What are you going to do? But anyway, that's it for Casey Jones, the Ultimate Edition. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, does he have a Jose Canseco bat? Asked Bobby Wald. Well, no, they don't really have any kind of markings on them whatsoever. They're just kind of covered up with tape. But he does have two of them, so it was indeed a 2-for-1 sale. I'm just saying. But I think that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Casey Jones. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. I like it when you leave comments, so please make sure you leave a comment down below, and then you can make all the jokes you want to about Jose Canseco bats and you got to know what a crumpet is to know cricket and all that kind of fun stuff. We all loved this movie, didn't we? I think it's one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. For me, the 4 goated comic book movies, the ones that everything is built on them, is and every comic book movie owes a debt to one of these 4 that came previously in some way or another, is Superman the movie, Batman 1989, The Crow, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think like those kind of walk so everything else could run. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.